Hey guys, so believe it or not, I actually still am alive. A few of you were questioning that and wondering where I've been. But basically I've been MIA on all of my social media for like the entire month of March almost. I've only posted one video in the month of March, which is a huge deal for me because I have never went this long without posting a video since like I first started YouTube, and it was before I was even like consistent on my channel. I really want to get back into the swing and routine of my life, and I feel like this is like the first step, being able to post videos and everything like that. But I figured that I had to come on here and just update you guys and let you know what was going on before I just jump right back into making videos. Mainly making this video right now as an update, but also if anyone else was to experience what I'm going through right now, that they can use this video to maybe help them and figure out what's wrong with them, because there's not really much information out there for me. Maybe TMI for some people. So if you are like not the kind of person that wants to hear TMI details, then just click off this video and watch my next one or watch my other ones that aren't about this. I'm just going to jump right into the story. So many of you know that I went to Miami. I shot a video there. It was my travel hacks video. Everything was fine and dandy. A couple days into me being in Florida, I started experiencing symptoms of a UTI, which is basically an infection. It was basically burning when I peed. I just didn't really know what was really wrong because I've never experienced that before. I just assumed like, oh, okay, like it will go away in a couple days. And then it just got progressively worse. And I was still in Florida, so I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm gonna have to take care of it when I get home. I ended up going to Walmart. Like, I was in like a lot of like discomfort and pain. Went to Walmart, took one of those like self kits, like you can test your pee to see if you have an infection, and it came back positive. And then there's like these relief tablets that you could take that also claim they like stop the infection, or not really cure it, but like kind of stop it from getting worse. So I was taking those and I thought that they would help, but they really didn't. And I came home Thursday night, like 2 weeks ago, I would say. I can't remember the exact dates. My brain's like all foggy right now. And the next day I was working a double, and Saturday I was also working, so I didn't really take care of my health first like I should have, because I was just like, okay, I'll take care of it Monday when I'm not working. And then I noticed that I was like kind of feeling a little bit weird at work, kind of out of it, and just kind of like lightheaded, and I was getting a headache. And I just assumed it was because I didn't eat. And Saturday night, I noticed that I had the chills, and I was like, this is weird. So for some reason, like I just got the instinct to take my temperature. Took it, it was like around 99.1, which isn't really considered a fever. But then I took it about a half hour later and it went up to 100.4 or something like that. So I was like, okay, something's obviously wrong here. And then the headache that I had was just getting worse and worse. And it felt like so much pressure in my head. I've never experienced a headache like that in my entire life. Once I realized that I had the fever, I was like, okay, like obviously something's not right here. I was like really nervous that the infection that I had went to my kidneys, because that's known to happen if you leave it untreated. And then I woke up Sunday morning with a 103 fever, and I felt like absolute death. And my whole body was weak. I had a pounding migraine. I just felt like really off. I ended up taking like 3 Motrins, and that did make me feel better temporarily, but I went straight to urgent care. They tested me for a UTI, came back positive. They prescribed me antibiotics, which they prescribed me Bactrim. It was like the generic version. After I came home from the doctor, I was so tired and just felt run down. I did take one of my antibiotics and then I went to sleep. And then for some reason, I ended up sleeping from Sunday night until Tuesday morning. I was just like kind of like comatose, like literally in a sleep that I could not break. I got up maybe like 2 or 3 times to use the bathroom, but that was it. Like I pretty much came to the conclusion that I had the flu. So not only did I have this infection, but then I got the flu. And I've never had the flu before. And it was just completely like, I was like bedridden. I could not move out of my bed. When I tell you guys that I had the worst migraine, like if you guys have ever seen the Vine or like Facebook video of the girl getting beaten over the head by another girl with a shovel, that's how I would imagine her head felt, is what I was feeling. And it just felt like my head was 500 pounds. My eyes hurt so bad that I couldn't even do the slightest eye movement without just wanting to cry. I then started to throw up every couple hours. I'd be waking up out of my sleep and throwing up, and I was just like, I was just so miserable. I was like, what the hell is going on? And then I didn't want to take my antibiotics because I didn't want to just throw them up. So luckily the throwing up part didn't really last too long, but it was really bad because I hadn't been really eating, so I was throwing up nothing. It's even worse because your body just won't stop. Like, it just needs to get something out. And then I told my mom, I said, Mom, I need Excedrin migraine. I sent her to the store for me to get that because I just needed something to relieve my headache. It says don't take more than 2 in a 24-hour period. And within 12 hours, I took 2, and it was starting to fade off and the migraine was coming back. So I took another one, and then about an hour later I look in the mirror and my skin looked like I was sunburnt. Like, my skin was all red, and I got really nervous that I was like allergic to it, because if you look on the bottle it says like allergy symptoms, like skin reddening, and I was like, so I just stopped taking that and dealt with the migraine. I was trying to like take more of my antibiotic because I kept missing doses, and I was like, okay, like it says take exactly as prescribed, and I just kept missing my second dose for the day. So finally I was like, okay, like I really need to start taking these doses properly. So I started to take it more, and then I noticed about a couple days after that I could not pee, okay? Like, my bladder was full. I felt like I had to go, but nothing would come out. I would have to sit there for like an hour to strain myself to get the smallest amount out of my body to like give me some relief. And that happened, I would have to say, around Thursday. I missed another dose, and I was like, okay, like maybe I need to just really stick to my antibiotics, because maybe like if I keep taking antibiotics this will go away. And it only got worse. It only was more and more impossible for me to get anything out. I ended up going to work Friday, and still like I was able to get something out, so I felt like a little bit better, but I still had this insane pressure in my stomach. And I just didn't really know what to do about it, and I was, like I said, again hoping that it would go away. And then I woke up on Saturday morning. I didn't really get much out. Saturday night, I was just miserable. Like, my stomach hurt so bad. The pressure in my stomach just, it felt like it was going to burst. I didn't know what to do, and I asked work if I could like go home early, and like no one was really letting me leave. So like the whole time I was like suffering. I was like, you know, if this is not better by the morning, like I'm gonna have to go to the ER. Sunday morning rolls around, kept waking up in the middle of the night trying to pee and couldn't. And then it got to the point where I had like a mental breakdown, and I was just so frustrated because I'm like, why can't I just do a normal bodily function like pee? I just could not even take it anymore. Like, the pain was like unbearable at this point. I told my mom, I was like, Mom, like I have to go to the ER. I waited in the waiting room for 3 hours. Okay, 3 hours. I'm like, so much for emergency. Like, a lot of people were there with like the flu. I'm one of those people that like I won't go to the ER unless it's extremely necessary, because I just don't want to feel stupid. They did a bladder scan of my bladder to find out that it was pretty much full by a liter. The average capacity of a bladder is 400 to 600 milliliters. Mine was full to 1,000. I had 2.5 pounds of urine in my bladder that was just there pressing on my other organs and stuff like that, and I'm getting like pain just thinking about it. But they had to drain it out of me, and the way they do that is they stick a catheter in you and have to drain you. That experience was absolutely horrifying. They needed 3 different doctors to attempt to get it in. And right now just talking about it is giving me anxiety because, oh my god, it was the worst experience of my life. They drained it, and there was pretty much a liter that they took out of my bladder, and they were like, that is insane. They were like, we've never seen someone come in with that much retention. If I waited any longer, that my kidneys could have shut down, and I could have done real permanent damage to my body. I had acute urinary retention, which means you cannot pass it through your body. So it is a medical emergency, that's for sure, but I wasn't really aware of how emergency it was. They did an x-ray, which came back fine. They did a sonogram, which they were checking for like fibroids to see, which are like little like tumors and stuff, to see if anything could have been blocking the path. And all of that came back fine. My blood work came back fine. They ran the urine, that came back clean. Every single test came back great, which, amazing, that's great. But then that only made me more frustrated, because then I was like, what is causing this? Like, what is actually causing this to happen right now? I thought maybe I had kidney stones and maybe something was blocking the path and I couldn't get it through. But they didn't see any stones or anything on any of the tests. It was just a long, agonizing day. I was in the ER for 11 hours. And it was just a very traumatic experience with everything that I had to deal with. Honestly, the doctors seemed really freaking confused, and that made me feel that much more uncomfortable. But the nurses and doctors that I did have were absolutely amazing. Like, the one nurse, like, that was basically torturing me to get, like, the catheter in. He just, like, kept apologizing, and, like, he was just such a nice guy. And people like that, like, really make you feel, like, more at ease. It was brutal. And there was so many people in the emergency room that there was no rooms left, and people were being treated out in the hallway. So eventually I got kicked out of my room and thrown out into the hallway, which actually I preferred the hallway better, because I could actually like look at everyone else and see what was going on with everyone else, and that kind of like put my mind at ease in a way. They were like, well, you might have to go home with the catheter in, which, if you guys don't know what a catheter is, basically it's like a tube that goes through your body, so that way you can drain the pee from your bladder into a bag. And that is absolutely disgusting, and I can't really believe that I'm telling you guys this, but the main reason I'm explaining it is because it's such a rare thing to happen to somebody in general, but especially for somebody my age. So basically after the sonogram, everything came back good. This other doctor came up to me, and he was like, you know, everything looks great. He's like, you know, in my 28 years of practice, I've only seen this happen 3 times. That's 4. 3 times he's only seen this happen, and he said that usually what it was a bladder stone, and what could have happened was that it could have went down far enough to the point where they wouldn't be able to see it on like an x-ray, and that's also why they had a hard time getting the catheter in, which, okay, makes sense. But then they were like, it could have either fragmented when they got it in, or it could have been pushed back up and then it will come back down and then you won't be able to pee again. So they sent me home with the catheter, and then I couldn't get a doctor's appointment with a urologist until 2 days later. So I went to the urologist yesterday. They took this out and they tried to see if I could pee on my own. And of course, I can't. So at that point, I just had another breakdown, because I was like, why can't I do this? I just want to feel normal again. Like, what's going on with me? What's wrong? In a lot of pain and like discomfort. He told me right before I left the hospital that what I have is extremely rare, and the majority of the time he only sees this in like middle-aged men. So I'm sitting here, 22 years old, completely healthy otherwise, and then this is happening to me, and it's just like, it just doesn't make any sense. Maybe now, you know, it's just in my head now that I can't, and that's why. But at the hospital, they were like trying to see if maybe I had like a neurological problem that was causing this. Then they were like scaring me with like types of diseases that I could have that are causing this. And I'm just like, this is way too much for me to process right now. I don't think I have any neurological issues, because I don't have any symptoms at all of the one that they were like saying that I had, or could have had, I should say. Then the urologist, they had to put the catheter back in, and they were like, yeah, you're gonna have to have this in for a couple weeks until you can get an appointment for this procedure thing. Basically, the procedure is they have to put a camera inside of me to look around and to see if they can see any bladder stones, or to see if they could find any cause of what this issue is. And I lost it again after that, because I'm like, weeks of having this thing in my body. Like, you guys, oh my god, it's the most uncomfortable thing ever. And I'm not gonna sit here and lie and say, oh yeah, it doesn't hurt, because whew, like it is really, really, really uncomfortable. I'm just at the point where I'm like so frustrated because I don't know what's wrong. The doctors don't really know what's wrong. The doctor did say, he's like, I have seen this before, so don't get scared and think that you're the only person that I've had come in here with this, but just know that there's a lot of things that we could do for you, but we have to find out what's causing this. That's pretty much the point where I'm at right now. I don't have an appointment at the doctor until March 30th. Like, I am just literally praying that when that day comes like rolling around, that it just everything's normal again, because like I literally cannot take this. I just don't feel like myself at all, and it's just so uncomfortable. I know that if anyone else ever went through this and like had no answers, that the internet's the first place you look for answers. And I really do feel like me and my mom believe that it was the antibiotics that might have done this to me, because it wasn't until I started taking the antibiotics that I started having this issue. And you know, the doctors are pretty like stern on the fact that they think that it was not the antibiotics. When you take something and all of a sudden your body just like shuts down normal functions, you have to kind of sit back and like wonder like what could it possibly be. I really just can't wait to feel normal again and to function like a normal human being. And it's just crazy, like, because a couple weeks ago I was driving in Florida, I was in Miami, I was enjoying the sun, the beach, everything. And then this happens, completely debilitates me. I've been like barely leaving my bed, barely been eating, because I'm just, like this whole experience has just been absolutely miserable. I can't take more of this like being poked and prodded and like treated like a science experiment. Whew, it's like really just getting my anxiety to all new levels. Which they did say that anxiety could be a reason why this is happening also. If there's anything I've learned from this experience, it's definitely to never take your body or your health for granted, because at any given time, something can happen that can just kind of like disable you. Like, I can't really work. I can barely walk or just move around like a normal person, when 2 weeks ago I could easily do that. And I definitely know that there's people out there that have it worse than me, but it's been a horrible experience, and I just can't wait to go back to normal again. I just wanted to update you guys, and just look out for new videos and stuff like that. And next month is my birthday, and I'm planning on going to Playlist Live. So I'm hoping that everything works out the way that I'm planning, because I would really hate to not be able to, you know, have fun around my birthday next month. You can follow me on social media. I'll keep you guys updated there. All my links, P.O. box information, all of that jazz is all in the description. And I hope to see you guys in my next video. And I just wanted to say thank you guys so much for 26,000 subscribers. When I was in Florida, I hit 25,000, and I haven't been able to post a video since. So got 1,000 subscribers without even posting a video. So thank you guys for that, and hopefully on the road to 30K. 30K for my birthday. How about that, guys? That would be awesome. I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.